Credit downgrades and tax reforms. Let's talk about it on Today in Mortgages. Hey, what's up, Dreammakers? Welcome back to the show. We're talking about what's real, what's hype, and what you should actually be paying attention to out there in the world of mortgage and real estate news. It's Today in Mortgage. Rich, can't go away for the weekend. Expect no news to happen, right?
Always something.
It's always
Friday
something.
afternoon news dump.
I tell you what. So we've got a couple things we're going to touch on today. Rich, why don't we start with credit downgrades? What do you say?
Well, as Secretary Bessent says, who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
Well, real quick, probably people are paying attention. They might have seen some dips in the market. Part of that is due to this credit downgrade. So what happened over the weekend, Rich, or I guess on Friday?
Yeah, Moody's downgraded us. So now we're downgraded with Fitch and the S&P. And it's all about, investor confidence. People investing in the United States just don't feel confident that we're not controlling our debt and deficit. That's the biggest thing. You can point to every party, GOP or Democrats, going all through the years, and they all have spent more than they bring in. And it just doesn't seem like it's going to slow down. This Congressional Budget Office, CBO, says that this tax reform bill, the big beautiful bill, is going to cost $4.6 trillion over the next 10 years. So when that kind of came out, Moody said, we're dumping it. We're dropping the rating.
Well, it is safe to say that our debt to income ratios are a little out of whack. I don't know if we would get approved as a borrower.
We don't qualify.
Luckily, we can print money. So
print it.
I guess to quote Scott Bessent, who cares? It is important. It's something that, eventually is going to come to a head. I'm sure we'll have to address it as a country. Who knows if we have the political fortitude to do so. But you mentioned this already, Rich. That's our second story, is this tax reform bill. So I'll tee up this article. It's from NAR, National Association of Realtors, says first draft of tax reform bill, very positive for real estate. So, Rich, you mentioned a lot of spending in that bill, but we'll kind of zero in on what we know, and that is mortgage and real estate. What is in this draft tax reform bill that we need to know about in our industry?
Yeah, let's first note that this is a draft. So there's still a lot of debate, and you still need a vote, and it's going to be a clown show. So, but in the current draft, there are improvements. They're tripling the SALT deductions, which is huge. They're protecting mortgage insurance deductions. That's all good. Those two things alone are great for real estate. So
let's talk about those protections that you mentioned, SALT and mortgage insurance. Are those new deductions or protections around those deductions, or are those existing that this bill is just kind of fortifying?
Yeah, the mortgage interest deduction is already in play, but they're just protections for it. So, that's positive. They're making sure that can't go away. And then the SALT, the state and local taxes, they're saying it's tripling the amount you can deduct of that. So really, your standard homeowner under, average income, that's not a huge thing for them, but it definitely is the more money you make, the more taxes to state and local that you pay. That does make a significant difference.
Yeah, I know there'll be a lot of debate about that, especially in red states that don't have those state and local taxes like the blue states do. So we'll see what happens with that. But Rich, those were two of the big provisions here, that SALT tax and the mortgage interest tax deductions. Let's talk about some of the kind of smaller, maybe minor things in here that will just overall benefit the taxpayer, maybe give more money back in their pocket to help them with housing.
Yeah, well, as far as income tax rates, those are coming down. Looks like across the board. Obviously, it's going to benefit those who make more. It's going to benefit them more, but it's supposed to benefit everybody. Like they lifted the child tax credit $2,500 in this draft. They're limiting, taxes on overtime and tips, which I still don't have, the details on that, but it doesn't look like they're totally getting rid of it, but maybe they will at certain income brackets, but they're definitely putting some limitations on those, some caps on those. So that's positive. So if I'm a homeowner and I make pretty good money and I got some children. I'm ready to buy a home. This new tax reform is going to help me a little bit, right? My tax credit was increased, or my child tax credit was increased 2,500 in this draft. My overall income tax is going to be a little bit lower, giving me more money in my pocket. At my SALT, state and local taxes, deductions triple, giving me more money back. So it's making it more affordable to buy a home, even though home prices are elevated. At least I've got more money to pay for that stuff. So that's why the NAR is saying this is, pretty darn good for real estate.
Overall, a really good sign that these things are being discussed. This is obviously the big, beautiful bill. A lot of things are wrapped into it. It's going to take some time to sift through.
Yeah, we've been a little frustrated about, how President Trump said affordable housing was like one of his top initiatives that he wanted to address, but yet we've heard nothing about it since then. And in fact, they've made it kind of more difficult in a lot of areas so far. So let's see what's in this tax reform bill and what it ends up being when it gets voted on. And that'll tell us everything, how the administration is getting behind affordable housing or not.
Well, Rich, before we close out today, I just want to talk briefly about the things that we're doing here despite what's going on in politics and despite what's happening in Washington. So we've got a lot of interesting things happening at the network, utilizing a lot of great technology and a lot of great tools, but we're looking for the right people to invest in as well. What are we looking for right now at the network, Rich?
Yeah, we've said this many times that most of our biggest producers are real entrepreneurs. They've got their brands that we support and back. That's the type of person we're looking for. That's someone that's the pro in their community that people go to for advice and for mortgages, and you just do things right. That's where we're at. We don't have levels of management, sucking out basis points. We try to give you the most competitive price in the market. We give you the best products, coaching, technology, operations. We're doing it all for our best people. And I know a lot of people would love to hear about that. So if you're interested in hearing about network funding, please reach out to me for a confidential kind of tour, a talk, whatever you'd like to hear about network funding. I'm here for you. But you can visit join.nflp.com just to get a taste of what we represent.
Yeah, that's right, Rich. If you're the right person, we want you to do more you. So much so, Rich, that link, join.nflp.com, will also work at you.nflp.com. So check either one of those out and learn everything there is to know about joining the best network in mortgages. Rich, this is kind of some exciting developments in the political world. Obviously, a long way to go, but we did see some forward movement over the weekend on this. So anything else you want to say on this tax bill, Moody's kicking us out of AAA status, or anything else, Rich?
Yeah, we joke about this stuff, Michael, but I just want the viewers to know that this is not a political, commentary, right? We're reading articles and we're trying to dig and find out what the real stories are and just try to give you our perspective on it. But we're just looking at it as Americans and we're saying, hey, what's happening? And we're trying to kind of translate some of these articles to you guys just to make it a little bit easier to understand.
Good word, Rich. Well, thank you so much for everything you do here. Thanks for making us smart on this. Thanks everyone out there for watching and listening. Wherever you are, we appreciate you. We'll see you next time on Today in Mortgages. Today in Mortgages is produced by Network Funding LP, which is an equal housing lender, NMLS 2297. The content of this program is meant to be a commentary on mortgage and real estate news, and any discussion of rates and or products should not be taken as an individual mortgage or home buying advice or pricing estimates. And any commentary on this show should not be considered a promise to make a loan. All applicants for a loan must qualify, and you should consult a professional regarding your individual loan scenarios for your financial situation. Visit our website at nflp.com/licenses for all state licensing and other legal information.